Hey everyone, Gil here with GrayManPrepping. Alrighty, so this is going to be a three-part video, basically because I don't want to bore you to death with a 1-hour video. Now, this is going to be called Prepping for Beginners number 3, Planning for Emergencies Part A. And then I'll follow up with Part B and C as it continues on. Now, this three-part videos series here is a seminar that I used to teach when I worked at DHS. But there's been a few changes from what I taught. Some of those changes are the question and answer time. Kind of hard to do question and answer time on a video. But if you have questions, type it in the comment section down below and I will respond. And obviously, we're not doing this in a classroom setting. I will be using the PowerPoint. This is not going to be death by PowerPoint. I'm just using the PowerPoint to highlight what I'm talking about. All right, I'm not going to be just reading off the PowerPoint every single word. No, okay, they'll have some stuff up there, and I'm going to elaborate on it, sometimes a whole lot. I'm going to run this presentation just as I did when I gave it, except for the question and answer time and a couple other points which I'll point out along the way. So let's get it going. And we're going to start it off just like I did there with the beginning here. So we'll run that. Hi, I'm Gil Patton. I'll be your instructor today for Planning for Emergencies. Until recently, I worked at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. I was the Emergency Management Coordinator, and I was the Executive Coordination Center Officer. I was stationed at the Oakland Coordination Center, which covers 21 California counties. I was the designated ComSec representative, which means I was in charge of all the communication security equipment. I was also the HSDN trusted agent, and that's the Homeland Secure Data Network, and I can't talk about what I did there, but I have been teaching emergency preparedness and response since 1971. I'm a ham radio operator, and I am a ham cram instructor. Ham cram is a crash course given by several instructors together, usually on 1, 2, or 3 Saturdays, depending on how smart the group is. And we basically get them ready to, on that 3rd Saturday, take their ham radio license test. I also did it for the Scouts, the SHARE program, Scout Ham Amateur Radio Experience. And we ran the Scouts through 5 Saturdays to make sure that they could pass the test to get their ham radio license. I've been teaching wilderness survival since 1973. I've written over 30 technical response plans for DHS, multiple handbooks on emergency preparedness, and both fiction and nonfiction books on disaster survival and living. I have been a Scoutmaster for 6 years, and I was the NYLT, which is National Youth Leadership Training Assistant Course Director and Quartermaster for 5 years. Oh, and I'm the current CEO of the Asset Center, the American Survival School and Emergency Training Center in Basalt, Idaho. At this point, I'd usually have the class, everyone in the class introduce themselves, their name, their profession, what they're looking to learn, tell a little bit about them and why they're in the class. Teaching style. Teaching style based on what was being a classroom was orations with visualizations, question and answers periods along the way to make sure everybody's getting the instructions. And if you have questions, ask. Wait, you're here watching this video because you have questions. So if I don't answer your questions just by the basis of the video, comment down below. Ask, hey, what about this? What about that? All right. Objectives. Of course, objectives are to teach you how to make plans and how to make plans within plans and how to choose the types of emergencies that you want to get prepared for. Learn how to set a time frame or time frames for getting prepared. Budgeting. Primary location for each event to be established, help you learn how to establish it, whether it's going to be shelter in place or bugging out. We're going to talk about training, primary and secondary training, and what you need to do and time frame for getting the training. Same thing with supplies. And we're going to teach about supplies based on the base plan supply list and a TRP supplies. And so we'll get into that as we get to it. And we're going to talk about needs versus wants. Ground rules. There are certain things you must understand. The only rules that matter are these: what a man can't do and what a man can't do, or what a woman can do and what a woman can't do. Don't try to plan for things you cannot do. It's a sure recipe for disaster. You can plan to increase what you can do. One of the biggest problems for people getting prepared for emergencies and just general prepping is that most people go at it piecemeal without a plan or any sort of formatted structure. Now, piecemeal, when you look at the definition, it states characterized by unsystematic partial measures taken over a period of time. Now, that there is a mouthful, but basically what it means is pitiful planning and preparation predicates pathetic poor performance. Had to go a little bit more of a mouthful there. But basically it is, if you don't do any planning or preparation, you are destined to be pathetically a poor performer, i.e. failure in what you're trying to do. So without a plan, you often wind up saying, dang it, I could have waited to do this and I should have done that over there sooner. I didn't need this right now. I needed that first. Now I got to take everything apart, redo stuff. So it's just like building a house. You start with the foundation. Emergency preparedness is like a spider web, and most people don't realize this. There are no straight lines from point A to point B, from the first point to the last. You don't do everything in line in a straight line. You start working on this, and it's affected by this this topic here, and this topic over here, and this topic over here, and this one up here. And it looks very chaotic, but there is a rhyme and a reason to getting prepared. You just have to trust me and believe me that there is a rhyme into getting prepared. When I worked at DHS, I wrote a base plan and over 30 tactical response plans that were based upon the base plan. The base plan was the bottom level of the pyramid. It was the foundation for everything else. Now you have one basic plan and then multiple plans for multiple scenarios or events, whatever you want to call it. Earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, winter storms, wildfires, floods. Okay, you get the picture there. You can work on one or more of these scenario plans or TRPs at a time. So what is a base plan? For emergency preparedness, a base plan covers your basic needs for survival. It also includes the rule of three. Now, if you didn't see the one of the earlier videos, I think it was the last one, number 2, I talked about the rule of three in there. So I'm just going to touch on it briefly here. 3 minutes without air, you die. 3 days without water, you die. 3 weeks without food, you starve to death. Rules of three. So air is all around us, and you can do a little bit of prepping on it, but basically it's not part of basic stuff. That's getting into more advanced preparedness for that. For basic base plan, you deal basically with water and food. A base plan needs water, food, clothing, and shelter. Now, for an individual, not a government, for an individual, your shelter is going to be your home. Now, if you're planning on bugging out, we'll talk about that later. Then it also includes the location you're bugging out to. But water, 3 days without water, you got to plan to have water. You plan to have food, and you have to have clothing to protect yourself. And we'll get a little bit more into each of these as we go along here. Now, the first thing you're going to need is a pencil and a notebook, a note app or a Word doc, something where you can put stuff down in writing. I prefer people use a pencil and a notebook and a Word doc, because you can scribble things out and you can type it up in a Word doc, and then also an Excel spreadsheet, because once you have things straightened out a little bit more in the Word doc, you can cut and paste into an Excel spreadsheet, and we'll talk about that later on. The second thing you need is a co-planner. 2 minds are better than 1. 3 is even better, because someone else is going to think of something that you haven't thought of, and they maybe by saying something will inspire you in something you never would have thought of otherwise. The third thing you're going to need is an open mind, because whatever it is that person says, it might be, if you have open mind, you're ready to receive inspiration, it might be the thing that triggers the most potent and powerful thing in your plan yet. All right. Also, use a parking lot for ideas. Keep that open mind on this. A parking lot is where you guys are talking about one specific topic, and someone for some reason or other blurts out, hey, that reminds me about this. You write it down on a Post-it, put it on a Post-it board, on a whiteboard, corkboard, whatever, and save it, and come back to it later on so you can address it properly. The fourth thing you need is patience. This is not a quick fix, abracadabra, hocus pocus, poof, it's done. This is going to take time. So you need patience when working on it, and so you don't get mad at each other. What type of emergencies can you prepare for? Well, here's just a short list of a few type of emergencies. Everything from accidents, an active shooter, asteroid impacts, bad body parts, biohazards, birth, cancers, contagions, deaths, droughts, earthquakes, economic collapse, and that has a little asterisk on it, EMP, famines, fire, food shortages, fuel shortages, ice storms, infestations with a little asterisk on it, infectious diseases, loss of job, mudslides, old age, pandemics, power outages with a little asterisk on it, robberies, serious illness, shootings, tornadoes, vehicular malfunctions, water contamination, wildfires, winter storms, and zombie apocalypse, and a few more things in there I just kind of skipped over. Now, the asterisks are ones that are generally looked at as being, they can be local, they can be regional, they can be national, they can be global. All right? So it's not always going to be something just real close in your neighborhood. Do you have to pick just one type of emergency scenario or type of emergency to prepare for? No. You can and should plan for multiple types of emergencies. You can also get supplies that cover multiple emergencies. Example might be nitrile gloves. You can use them for several different things, including first aid emergencies, dealing with contaminated whatever, household hazmat. There's things that you can use multiple things for. And as you start preparing, you'll figure out, oh, I can use this for this, this, and this. Now I don't have to buy 3 sets. I can just use 1 set for all 3. In getting prepared, don't rush too fast into it. All right. From the that TV show, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, when Kris Kringle works with the Winter Warlock to help him get become a good person. He said you start by putting 1 foot in front of the other, 1 step at a time, and soon you're walking out the front door and you're on your way. Don't try to run, just take it slow and easy. All right, so that's it for part 1. And we've been at it here for almost 20 minutes, actually a little over 20 minutes, so we're cutting it off here. Part 2 will be coming out here shortly. If you have any questions, once again, type it in the comment section down below. And I got some, I'll have some little short 20-second clip here at the end here with a couple other videos you might be interested in on emergency preparedness. So in the meantime, everyone, stay happy, stay safe, stay prepared, and if you can, plant some sort of garden, grow something.